a little bit low-key at the beginning of the split, but he's truly shined as the game progressed.
Well, we're going to go ahead and load on into Champion Select for our first game of the night. It's going to be Talon on the blue side, AHQ on red. We're going to start things off with an Olaf ban after we saw a disgusting performance from the squads yesterday on Machi.
Yeah, that was actually pretty interesting considering I think it was River that was Jarvan for 2 games and as well as Olaf yesterday at the Berjaya game. But now it seems to be Talon does, it's just this game in particular, we'll take a look at River and Kongye and see who's going to start the proactive plays, considering again, when these 2 teams last fought, we've got the first gank around either 10 minutes, first blood even around 20 minutes. So it could be different this time. We're not very sure just yet.
We'll see here. Set is also going to be banned out here by Talon on the side of AHQ. I like that someone did the research here against Unified and Kaiwing. Not letting that Senna go through. Again, the pair of them have been absolutely disgusting when it comes to the champion alongside the Kench. I'm even maybe possibly expecting AHQ to maybe even ban that one away from Kaiwing, as they also got rid of the Aphelios. Talon, though, final ban coming through. It's going to be the Varus.
Yep, Talon has been banning the Varus every single time as well when they come against AHQ. And that leaves, what does AHQ decide to ban? Either the Ornn against Hanabi, perhaps they want to take that away. As Talon, we'll see what they decide to first pick later on, considering that Misfortune has been a prime importance for both of these teams.
Well, Mordekaiser going to be banned away there from Hanabi, and that's kind of been one of his power picks when it comes to the end of the regular season. And the Callista getting locked in for Talon is actually a nice little takeaway here, because Uniboy has also played it in the mid lane, as well as Waco, of course, on the marksman.
Yes, exactly. And the scary part is for Hanabi, he has either shifted sometimes into the more utility tanks at top side, or maybe these carry ranged champions in the top side of the map. He already played Quinn last time and he really bullied his counterpart in the top lane. So with this, Callista, we don't know if that's going to be for Unified or that's going to be Hanabi.
Well, we do see the Misfortune going to get locked in immediately here on the side of AHQ as the Ornn was picked up. And like you mentioned, now with the Ornn being shown by AHQ, that Callista could go up into the top lane. It is a possibility. And possibly seeing now Candy on his LeBlanc.
Yeah, it's actually open as well. There's a lot of the mid laners that are not banned. There is the Syndra, there's the Zoe as well that Uniboy really favors. But at the same time, he has come across either the LeBlanc matchup and as well as the Syndra matchup already. So he lost that one. It's been very tough. And there's the Rek'Sai that we were looking for from River.
Yeah, River absolutely loves the Rek'Sai, so it's going to get locked in. Has been one of the more proactive users when it comes to the Rek'Sai. But here in the mid lane, possibly for AHQ, we could see this Lissandra get locked in.
This is perfect. I think this is the second time we're going to be seeing this matchup, the LeBlanc into the Lissandra. Very easy, very sort of telegraph as a Lissandra when you encounter the LeBlanc, just to try and punish that all-in. Easy, point and click stuns coming from Uniboy on this Lissandra. For Talon, what is going to be the next ban that you will take?
Well, some targets toward the bot side of the map as still the support being left open. We still don't know exactly where this Callista is going either. I think it would be a rather gutsy play to bring that out in the first game of your playoffs on the side of Talon. So I think we're going to, right now, assume it's going to Unified, as the Thresh is banned out here by AHQ. And taking a look toward the jungle pool here, as it's going to be left open for exposure and bans, as the Trundle banned out here by Talon.
Now, what does Kongye decide to pick up? There is the Sejuani and Jarvan that he has used before, but I remembered Kongye's Jarvan isn't the best in his pool at the moment, so that's the reason why Talon is cornering him into that pickup. So perhaps for HQ, they are still lacking their support and as well as their jungle.
We'll see here, Talon going to go ahead and ban out the Kindred as their final ban. We have seen the Kindred pop up a little bit in the playoffs now, and once or twice during the regular season, so not out of the question, but that does mean that you have a couple of different options. You have that Sejuani, you have the Jarvan, you even have that Lee Sin possibly for Kongya if you wanted to be very aggressive here alongside Unicorn.
Ooh, this is actually pretty similar to their very first game, I believe. It was a Lee Sin and Rek'Sai, and it didn't turn out really well, but it's a good combo when you're up against, especially in the mid lane, paired up with a Lissandra. Safeguarded, get the resonating strike, and for Talon, we still don't know where this Kalista is going to be, but AHQ remove important supports away from Kaiwing.
All right, but seeing here for Talon, gonna go ahead and it looks like lock in this Maokai. So again, a little bit of flex. We don't know exactly where everybody's going, but honestly, we still have like the Kench available. There's still the Bard. There's still a lot of very high power picks coming out from Kaiwing that I think it's safe to say this Maokai will likely go up now toward the top lane, especially if the Bard's getting locked in.
Yeah, Kaiwing, right now in the whole entirety of PCS, Bard is 100% win rate right now. And with Kaiwing, he's picked this up 4 times already. This is going to be his 5th. And with that AHQ, what is your response here for the support?
And it's one of his hardest hitting champions when it comes to his playstyle. Like Kaiwing has, like I mentioned in the pregame, like a 45 KDA on the Bloody Bard. It's absolutely insane. For AHQ, it looks like their answer is going to be this Nautilus. So trying to lock down this Kalista as best as possible. There's still a lot of different ways they can get on top of her. And for Unified, it's going to be a bit of a scary match.
Yeah, and with that, especially, you're right, there is a lot of easy target CC, if you will, in the form of the Lissandra ult and as well as the Nautilus. And team fight wise, it is just beautiful. You can wombo a lot of hard CC, especially the classic Horn into the bullet time knockup. And with that, for Talon Esports, they're looking into, again, River getting ahead, making Candy have a comfortable lane. But it is going to be tough considering that is a Lissandra on the opposite end.
And this is going to require Talon to be the ones that have to try and end this game as fast as possible. Once you get to about that 35 to 40 minute mark, that's when the Ornn items are going to start out scaling pretty much whatever you have when it comes to your item pickups. Sure, Hanabi can be near unkillable, but if they get on top of this Kalista at any point during a late game team fight, you can pretty much call it over unless Candy's able to make a spectacular outplay.
And that is the scary part. It is actually a little bit mirroring when you look at the mid lane and as well as the jungle. And I'm just looking forward to the action for game number 1.
We're going to go ahead, load on into the Rift for our first game of the night. Of course, it is a best of 5 between Talon and AHQ. Victor of this series will move on to our winner's bracket final, where they'll go up against Machi, who are still claiming that 15-game win streak. We got enabled emotes on the map. I'm happy. It's going to be a beautiful Sunday for League of Legends.
I'd have to agree with you there. Again, I'd like to elaborate more on what I said about mirroring. It's always that template that we see where the AD carries will shine later on when it comes to either maybe the 20 to 30 minute mark. And then the junglers will have to work together with the mid laners to see and get that roam in and get ahead in lane. And both teleports being carried by Candy and Uniboy. So expect either this would be 20 minutes, nothing happens, or an early teleport in even around level 6.
Yeah, because both teams run the teleport. What's interesting for me is AHQ decided not to take an exhaust into the Kalista matchup, instead opting for that ignite. So this is pretty much saying, we're going to try and get an early kill here on Unified, or even possibly an early invade, as AHQ looking for that late invade now onto River, as Kaiwing and Unified already starting that one up. They're going to see Waco come around the corner. That's going to be, again, the comms coming through saying maybe we should back off here, especially considering that Nautilus can always get himself a good dredge line.
Yeah, and it's going to be all defensive for the bot lane of Unified and Kaiwing. Meanwhile, AHQ, you're right. That's why they carry the Ignite, hoping most likely either getting a kill later or possibly even a kill, supposedly, when Talon didn't retreat. And at that point, we see River going to get a little bit off on towards his pathing. But we've seen Wow, nicely done. Hook in by Sarah.
Yeah, good hook there, but the Ren comes back onto Weko, so Unified isn't going to be too far behind when it comes to the health trade there. Of course, he's got a Bard as well with him, so once you get a couple levels onto that Bard, you're going to have just that built-in healing off his W. River, though, going to be a little delayed in the jungle, but nonetheless should be able to maintain pace with Kongya, as he should be trading toward the top side of the map very soon, as Hanabi's already pushed up to the tower.
We'll see what the game plan is here, because it's perfect for Kongya to reach level 3 at bot side on his blue, on this blue jungle, and perhaps maybe even get a little visit towards bot lane of Talon, but it's a little bit extended, so I think it's a risky at this point. And there you go, just as you mentioned, it's going to be a trade of buffs with a vertical jungle, but as you can see, that might be the plan in mind.
And with that very early invade, they actually got themselves a lot of vision through the jungle. So they realized that River actually hasn't stayed down on the bot side of the map, instead traded toward the top side. You did see Uniboy was maybe considering going for a roam there, maybe trying to go into the jungle with Kongya. Instead, they just get the Raptor camp, but you already saw that Kaiwa and Unified were almost starting to backtrack all the way to their second tier tower.
Yeah, you can see the body language of Isera. He was moving right past the tower already, hoping to find a hook, as we saw Kongya and Uniboy hoping to make a roam as well. But I think it was a bit too risky, and now they're back into their own pathing.
It's going to be a scuttle trade as well, but other than what looked to be a little hint of aggression, no real early dives coming on through, especially even on the top side of the map. Hanabi's already pushed that lane in, so River doesn't really have any options to go for a gank anywhere, so he'll just go on back to the base. But first tower plate is actually already taken down here in bot lane by AHQ.
Yeah, a lot of threat, considering Isera here is on the Nautilus, and at that time, Talon didn't have much vision on the river side, so that's the reason why they can't exactly be a little bit more advanced or a little bit more aggressive, and had to respect the fact that the body language of Isera moving forward means that somebody is probably somewhere.
Just going to go ahead and clear out the map. We do see Kongya maybe tracking toward the top side, going to clear out his Krugs, and then maybe go over to his Raptors. Still some deep vision, though, on the side of AHQ. May catch out River once he's pathing toward the top side of the map, so that might be a window of opportunity here for AHQ with that information given to them, but War does dissipate, and that is going to be Infernal Drake now spawning in about 10 seconds.
And Talon, first over here nearby the river, especially River, considering a probable gank. It's on a ward, though.
So ward coverage is going to just keep AHQ safe for now, and they go back into their little bit of a farm game here. We're not seeing an explosive start to the game like we saw in our series earlier on in the week, especially from Talon against Nova, or even our games yesterday with Machi and Berjaya. But finally, River making his appearance, but a good W comes out from Uniboy, and also gets the flash out of River, so that's going to be a summer blown for absolutely nothing. Top side, ooh, Hanabi going down to under 100 health, as Civ was almost looking for a kill.
Yeah, it seems to me it's going to be the complete opposite happening, probably except for the fact that this is quite similar to the two games we've seen from them before, where nothing exactly happens until either 10 minutes. You see a little bit of aggression here and there, but not a lot of full-on skirmishes, especially at bot side, where Wako is doing a great job of pressuring Unified here, and Kongya also there nearby.
It does get spotted out, though, by the ward as well as the Sentinel. And you can take a look toward the mini-map here. Talon investing a lot of defensive vision toward the bot side of their map, especially in behind the Dragon. So they're going to be seeing whether or not Kongya tries to go for a play here. But with the Lee Sin down here and the push coming out from Wako and Ysera, that should be enough priority for them to try and advance over toward the Infernal Drake.
And this is the perfect timing. We did mention that usually the teams would either give up Dragon just to prioritize Rift Herald, but Rift Herald is not there, so this is the perfect time for AHQ to take it without having to trade and still be able to contest later on when Talon decides to take that as well.
And this
and
is
now, Infernal Drake going to AHQ.
And this is pretty much what we saw last time from the squad between these two teams, where AHQ just had Dragon control for the early part of the game. Talon really just kind of sat back and was, you know, comfortable letting these little buffs here and there go over to AHQ. Luckily for them, it's not going to be an Infernal Soul, so they're not going to be starting to stack up an Infernal Soul anytime soon. And it's going to be a Cloud Drake next. So not the end of the world here on the side of Talon, as they're fine just playing this back and safe.
Yeah, normally it is one of those things where they can give up. A lot of the teams would give up the first two dragons to the enemy squad if they want to play around the top side. But at the moment, since that's Hanabi on this tree, on Maokai, and therefore not a lot has been traded. Usually River would just want to power farm as much as he can, and once he's ready to take on fights and burst someone down, that's the time you see him out of the jungle.
Bot lane, just a little bit of harass coming through. Waco's been able to start building up a bit of a CS lead. River is nearby. Does he actually peek around the corner here, though? It doesn't look like it, as Candy was coming down also. He's just going to go ahead and clear out the control ward. So with that, AHQ can stay safe, as the Misfortune has a small CS lead.
Yep, and with that, we'll see. We're going to see the reset happening now. We'll see if Talon will do the same, as Rift Herald is going to spawn soon, actually spawn right now. So this is the typical rotation of the bot laners to assist with a take of this Rift Herald. And AHQ taking full control from the beginning of the game. This is really such a refreshing sight to see, considering, again, they lost the first two games that they've encountered against Talon.
Well, the big part here is you do have level 6 on the Misfortune, so bullet time is available for AHQ, where Kailing doesn't have the Tempered Fate to try and go for initiation. Hanabi is on the top side of the river, though, and does have a prime gateway for his ultimate to come on through. A nice little bit of damage going on to Ysera. Hook is not going to land, and Rift Herald is going to reset. AHQ still on the Pixel Brush. Going to go ahead and restart up the Rift Herald.
Yeah, and AHQ definitely happy to take this one. Just as you mentioned, there is a level lead. There's an ult lead for the side of HQ. Talon, though, wants to contest this one.
Here we go. Level 6 has been hit, though, for the Kalista. Call of the Forge God is going to come on out, and the Rift Herald is secured by AHQ, but Talon looking for a fight here over toward the side. Bullet time comes out, gets a decent amount of damage. A nice big knock-up comes through, though, as Ziv is able to find his mark on the wall, and that's going to be first blood going in favor of AHQ. Make it 2 kills on top of the Rift Herald.
Beautifully done by AHQ. It was Talon that wanted to fight. Usually, before in the regular season, Talon would have conceded the fight and just maybe fight for the next objective, go back to their lanes. But Talon really wanted this. Kailing didn't have Tempered Fate, and as well as, you know, the rest of the members don't have their key ults just yet. So HQ really set up this fight really well.
And that nice knock-up coming out from Kongya as well. Civ was able to pretty much disrupt Talon as much as they needed to, and with that, it's going to be a 1,000 gold lead with the Rift Herald secured. It's actually Ysera who actually picked it up there, so for that bot lane, they can try and really accelerate this Misfortune now by trying to get the first brick in their back pocket, and so far so good here on the side of AHQ.
Yeah, and it really helped getting that first turret played earlier when HQ had full control over bot side. It transitioned really, really well. Unified and Kailing did not have their primary ults when the fight started, and Talon just really wanted to deny, probably wanting to get a fight and wanting to win that fight. And unfortunately, again, Candy wasn't able to chunk the HP of either Unibor or Wacko at that time, so it was definitely a grim fight for Talon.
And Candy isn't necessarily going to be blowing up people right away in this game, especially since he had to rush the Merc Treads immediately just so he can, you know, delay some of the CC, at least cut it down when it comes to Uniboy possibly going for an all-in in the mid lane. And it's also AHQ just knowing their natural power spike with the fact that when you're going up against the Kalista, she doesn't have a combat ultimate. She has a repositioning ultimate with some CC, whereas the Misfortune can lay down all the hurt at level 6.
Exactly, and if you count in as well as on the Lissandra for Uniboy, it's just really perfect, as the combo is very sort of easy to execute once you lock someone down, and that's an immediate 4v5, and whoever wants to go near will just get locked down immediately. And now AHQ has control as well as vision over this river. 18 seconds on the clock, more or less, for the next dragon to spawn.
This is exactly what we saw in their first 2 games, where AHQ were able to just obtain dragon control early on the map with a small advantage when it comes to the side lane. So history, they're looking to not repeat it exactly. Those 2 games, they were still not able to take home the victory as they let Talon get back into it, but so far so good when it comes to game 1 of your best of 5.
And what does Talon intend to do? They've already lost the first one.
That's going to be Telport coming out. Tempered Fate is going to be there. Ends up landing on Sierra, who ended up buffering the movement with his hook. He's going to be dragon secured, though, by Kongya. Hanabi, though, coming up from the bot side of the river. It's going to be bullet time being used, able to get a little bit of damage, and that's going to be enough to take down River. Now Hanabi tries to jump in onto the backside of the fight. Kongya gets himself the safety, safeguards back on over to the AD carry, and he'll find himself the kill. Now Candy running for the hills, almost gets taken down by the dredge line. And again, that's another 2 kills going in favor of AHQ.
This is a very completely different Talon that I'm seeing. Usually, again, they would, if the objective is lost, they try to play somewhere else instead, push either a tower or just concede in general. And Dragon has already been taken, and this is such a refreshing Talon, I suppose, since they're extra aggressive now in comparison to the first time we saw them. But at the same time, it makes me wonder if that was worth considering. Again, that's 4 kills over to AHQ at the moment.
Well, it just comes back to that fact that, unfortunately, you're trying to go for a 5v5 here, but your AD carry isn't near at the point where Unified needs to be getting maybe a Runaz or even a Bork. He's only sitting on a Vamp Scepter, and again, Waco is able to do a lot more in the fight.
Exactly, a BF Sword versus the Vamp Scepter, and for Unified, not gonna have a lot of impact when it comes to these team fights, especially you don't have the Runans just yet to stack on the Ren, so it's just, you know, Talon's fighting power, not there yet, and especially Candy didn't exactly win the lane. We haven't seen the teleports come from Candy just yet to further lead this LeBlanc pick, and at the moment, Talon is definitely struggling.
And unfortunately, like, what can you do here if you're on the side of Talon? You kind of need to slow down this game quite a bit because unfortunately, like, Candy having to rush the Merc Treads immediately in the lane. He's still waiting for his first item, going to be that Luden's Echo, likely, as he's still sitting on the Lost Chapter. So the upfront burst from the LeBlanc isn't exactly where you need it to be, and Kaiwing's going to try and go for some roams, but you got to make something happen here on the side of Talon, or AHQ are going to slowly just continue to scale throughout the course of this game.
And then for HQ, we did mention at the beginning of the game, they're the type of team that once they're ahead, they get a lot of control. And now the question is whether or not they can further their push, and it seems to me that would be the case since they are pushing topside now, forcing Hanabi to retreat. And with that, Talon, just as you mentioned, they have to slow this game down.
They're going to be waiting here for Unified to get his first item, but meanwhile, Waco already sitting on the Essence Reaver and also going to get another tower onto this Misfortune. So again, additional gold going over to the carry of AHQ. And it's going to sit now at almost a 4,000 gold lead at 15 minutes. So a prime position for AHQ, and Talon got to start finding openings some way. Either that's putting down vision, looking for picks. That's what you like to do when you have a LeBlanc and a Rek'Sai. Because so far you're going to be waiting on these team fights, but it's still going to be a while until Unified's at his item break points.
Exactly, and the timing as well for AHQ to take that top side perfectly synergizes on when the Rift Herald is going to spawn. So Talon, no way of, again, contesting, and at the same time, they're in no shape to fight this one. And at the moment, they have to concede. Problem is, AHQ got the first 2 dragons already, and the next few minutes, or 1 minute more or less, it's going to spawn. And for Talon, what will be the exchange? What will you take in the map?
Well, unfortunately, there's not a whole lot you can do here on the side of Talon. They're going to at least get the 1 tower in bot lane, but it's still going to be a while before they can actually push up to the first tier tower in any other lane. On top of that, that's going to be the Rift Herald secured by AHQ once again. So if they find another good fight in their favor, which they might be able to, it's 1 minute until we have Mountain, and we could just see an exact repeat of the fight we just saw a couple minutes ago.
And even for Talon, they actually, I believe, wanted to get a potential steal on the Dragon instead of a full 5v5. Because it's easy-ish with the Rek'Sai. If you don't have the tunnels, you have the portal. But at the same time, you have full lockdowns, just as we mentioned, coming from the ult of Ysera and as well as Uniboy. So if you dive in, there's no way of getting out.
Well, first item's now online for Talon. Got the Luden's Echo completed here for Candy, so that LeBlanc's going to start doing a decent amount of burst damage. Unified also has his Bork, still waiting on that Runans though. before he's able to really lay down the Ren, but his single target damage is what maybe Talon are looking for if they want to try and just burst out a member immediately, as AHQ, though, already starting to set up around this Mountain Drake that's about to spawn.
And with that setup, it's going to be the Battle of Visions for now, as Kongya looking for.
Uniboy gets caught out there. Kaiwing tried to go for the Tempered Fate over the side of the wall. It's going to be Candy, but he ends up missing his combo. Uniboy goes in, gets a beautiful W on down. Call the Forge God, got to be there. Unfortunately, Hanabi ends up missing, and he doesn't land it onto the other members of AHQ. They're going to try and tunnel down into this choke point, but the re-engage comes back out from Civ, and there you go. It's going to be a double kill on the side of AHQ, and once again, 2 members get taken down, and AHQ could just turn back over toward the Dragon.
So many low health targets. I feel like Candy wants to make this work, perhaps. We're not sure. Still has enough mana, but we did mention the lockdowns coming from the side of AHQ. We'll have
and to be
see.
honest, that was a rather suboptimal Call of the Forge God that came out from Civ, because he ended up using it just to get the slow. He could actually do. Oh, Candy with the steal over the wall!
What?
And he denies AHQ their 3rd Dragon of the game.
Hero play coming from Candy. It was risky, but at the same time, it was worth denying again that Dragon Soul away from AHQ as the, once they get that 3rd Dragon in 4th. And let's take a look at this again. So Candy, just as you mentioned, missed the combo, not able to get that initial burst in. Candy had to wait for a couple of cooldowns, but Kongya forced to flash away. And at the same time, you see Hanabi way over there at the back, so it was technically a 4v5. And at that point, I thought Talon would have won this, but AHQ is just really good at repositioning.
And I gotta correct myself there, as I thought Civ was the one that actually misplayed the Call of the Forge God. It was actually Hanabi that interrupted his animation, so Hanabi actually did quite a decent amount of work. Candy, though, over the wall, blind, and oh, that's unfortunate.
Wow. Perfect timing. That was good. That was great. And for AHQ, understandable that they were a little bit comfortable at that time, since Talon was already trying to concede and lost the fight already. But that is very important what Candy just did.
So at least gives an objective back to Talon. Gives them a little bit of hope, and it slows down AHQ's Mountain Drake stacking, where they could be looking at Mountain Soul on 22 minutes if they were able to secure that. So a small little buffer, a window for Talon here possibly, if they're able to, again, farm up a little more and get to their 2nd items before Civ starts upgrading the rest of the items for AHQ. That's kind of the timer you're looking at here if you're on the side of Talon, is when does the ornaments come online? When does the item efficiency start to really scale out of control? Because if you still take a look at the gold lead, even though Talon aren't afraid to go for these fights, it's still a 5,000 gold lead for AHQ.
Yeah, and considering, again, Candy did try his best to chunk down a lot of the members from AHQ from earlier. Unfortunately, again, their repositioning is just great. Not able to finish off certain targets, especially everyone else is low. Proto Belt already completed as well for Uniboy, so closing the gap later on, possibly for Unified. Considering, again, Unified not on that cleanse, so it's going to be very difficult unless you have that QSS already built for yourself later on.
Yeah, because now you're looking at Uniboy. He's picked up his 2nd item. This Lysandra can close to just burst down Unified or Candy if they're not careful. And that's going to really require Talon to try and lay down some defensive vision to keep themselves safe from these possible flanks that could come out from AHQ. We already see AHQ already setting up for that next objective fight that's going to be likely taking place in about 2 minutes. Baron, though, is on the table. Still a little bit early, though, for either one of these squads to try and burst it down, especially on AHQ when you only have a Misfortune that isn't necessarily the best when it comes to single target damage.
Yep, and that is going to be the strength of Unified here on this Callista. And right now, what does Talon decide to do? Especially that, at least the steal came through, as the next dragon is not as pressuring on the side for Talon. But in the meantime, though, I just want to praise Ziv again for key knockups when it comes to the team fights. And we did mention that for Talon, they do want to build up more of that damage. And that would be the window for AHQ to take advantage of, as there's still no stopwatches, no QSSs, just as I mentioned, and even no Crucible, which usually I see Kaiwing rush when there's a lot of heavy CC when they went up against AHQ. So now they just really want to catch up on the damage when it comes to the team fights.
Speaking of damage, though, you now have that Infinity Edge complete for the Misfortune, so you now hit that about 50 crit chance breakpoint. That's when the ultimate starts dealing a decent chunk of damage during these scattered team fights that we're seeing, where Waco is not afraid to try and go for those plays. 40 seconds, though, on Mountain. AHQ kind of spread their vision out toward just the midsection of the map, trying to maybe catch out Talon on a rotation, but they're going to go ahead, start pacing down toward the Dragon before the reset, as it's going to spawn in about 30.
Yep, Beauty Boy does have teleport, so we'll easily push that wave and reset, go back to base. And meanwhile for Talon, they will definitely try, but will struggle, as AHQ has complete control over this river, even waiting for a little bit of cheeky pick here and there.
Here you go. Unified has picked up the Runaans finally on the Kalista. That was kind of the breakpoint I was hoping to see from Talon, but is it a little bit too late when there's a 6,000 gold lead? First ornament online, make it 2 actually, so this gold lead is going to feel closer to 8,000, and it's a big fight to possibly take here. Kaiwing has used that Tempered Fate before to actually initiate, so we'll see, as it's going to be a 5v5 in toward the Dragon. Dragon going down to about 1,500. It's going to go into the stasis here. Coming out of it, though, it's Kongya that's able to secure it. What is the side of Talon able to do here? It's a nice double knock-up into the bullet time. Still not able to find any damage. Now Candy on a flank. Not able to be finding it, though, as that's Hanabi actually looking for it. River's still waiting over the wall, but unfortunately, it's Kaiwing going down, and that's going to be a flash forward from Uniboy, locking down Hanabi as well, and Kongya is able to pick up the kill on top of the Drake.
And that is going to be Baron for AHQ, not only getting that third Drake for themselves, but also for that Dragon, and they will decide to just push the wave a little bit more to get more control over this BR. Uniboy does have teleport, so he's going to reset, buy some items, and again, we did mention, once AHQ gets running, it's hard for the opposing team to stop.
Uniboy also going to just use the teleport to try and maybe zone away Candy. You have Unified, River, and Candy trying to maybe look for a steal here, but it's still going to be just that 5v3, and unfortunately, make it a 5v2 as Candy's going to get taken down. That's going to be another teleport, though, coming in on to the Rek'Sai tunnel. Unfortunately, Unified has to flash over the wall as Hanabi does come by, so with the Maokai showing, it is enough to dissuade AHQ from taking the Baron, but it's now starting to escalate out of control, this gold lead, as AHQ were up 9 kills.
And it all started because of this Dragon, and we saw Uniboy not pushing through with the claws to gain distance. At this point, though, the Dragon has been acquired by AHQ. Bullet time wasn't able to do much, but it did scare away Talon for them to reset the fight. And for Candy, not finding the right targets here, as AHQ, again, has been good at just trying to reposition and scare away Talon, and even though they want to try something again, it's, again, a little bit too late.
And unfortunately, we're starting to see a bit of the weakness that is going to come from Candy on this LeBlanc, is if he's not able to find a good flank onto this Misfortune, or try and, you know, maybe take out Uniboy before the fight even starts, there's not a whole lot he can do during these fights. He can try and distortion in and out and get a little bit of damage, but if he's not able to burst down one of these key carries for AHQ, they're just going to run over the side of Talon.
And that's the thing, you can't exactly burst down on Lissandra because you didn't really exactly get ahead. Uniboy has the Frozen Tomb as defense as well. So your target now is going to be Wako, who's the squishiest member from AHQ, and that is your only choice. If you don't have that point of entry, all you can do is poke at the objectives, try to distortion in, get the chains. But earlier on, we did see that being done by Candy, but unfortunately, once you see the enemy use the distortion already, that is the go signal for AHQ to just lock the LeBlanc down.
On top of that, too, you now have QSS online for Waco, so it's going to be very hard to try and lock him down. Talon, though, not afraid to still step up into the river, even though this gold lead has gone a little bit out of control. And AHQ, so far in the first game of their playoff matchup against Talon here, have looked very clean. They know exactly when they can fight, and it worked out so well in this early game that they just have complete control of the map. Does Talon, though, try and at least interrupt this Baron take? Hanabi over toward the side does have his ultimate available. Candy's just going to peek over the wall, trying to get a little bit of damage. They get Waco with the Tempered Fate, but instantly the call is going to come out here from the side of AHQ to try and go for the fight. Kaiwing gets himself a double knockup. It's a bit of scatter, but that bullet time is able to just find multiple members of Talon. That's going to be 2 members getting taken down. Make it 3, a double kill for the Misfortune. And once again, AHQ have not given up a single kill to Talon here in game 1.
This could even be a perfect game for them if the tower didn't lose at the bottom side. And with that, AHQ, we saw the combo, we saw the wombo from the Oran Horn to the bullet time. It was beautiful. And again, Candy not having that access towards the AD carry of AHQ. Now they get a Baron.
Baron in hand, that should allow them to close out this game relatively fast here. If it starts off a Tempered Fate, only catching out the Misfortune, but Talon are still confident enough to try and go for this.
Yes, and again, we did mention it's so hard to catch Uniboy once he gets ahead, and he has so many options for escaping the fight and escaping the burst. And you saw how much Talon just focused on Uniboy and invested so much only for AHQ to just do a bullet time in Oranhorn and finish most of the members from Talon.
And for AHQ, this is close to they're getting close to what is honestly one of the strongest points in the game. Rabadon's now completed here for Uniboy. Once that gets upgraded, he becomes an absolute monster. Can pretty much just one-shot Candy, Kaiwing, River possibly even Unified. A kick is going to start off this fight as Hanabi's put into the middle of the squad of AHQ. They get a Tempered Fate onto Waco once again, but still, there's just no follow-up damage. They can't break through the front line of AHQ, and a massive amount of damage comes through. Candy gets taken down. Waco flashing it forward. A bullet time combo, not enough. No crits on the waves, but still, Kongya looking to try and dive here underneath the towers. Unified force the kite back. Uniboy, though, finds himself his target, and this should be the game here as AHQ crash the base.
Beautifully done by AHQ, and that's a lot of death timers on the side of Talon, and that's 5 members still complete, no death. This is a seriously strong AHQ.
And only a tower and a dragon away from a perfect game. What a way to make a statement here against rivals of the PCS in Talon, as AHQ are able to take home game 1 of the semifinal in the upper bracket.
I even love the Penguin dabs before the Nexus has fallen, and HQ, again, they lost against Talon twice in the regular season, so this must feel really, really good, considering it's not even a close fight. It was just a demolish.
I even saw Kongya there. Had a little bit of a smug look on his face coming back to the player cam right after the game. I don't blame him. HQ looked like they're playing a bottom-of-the-bracket team there at this point, and Talon, they just didn't come to play, it seems, on game 1.
And you can tell how desperate they were in sort of trying to make up for the losses in the early game, how they really try to push. Like, I see that they managed to at least delay the Baron, but at some point, it was just one of those things where AHQ was just too far ahead.
Yeah, because once you get the items online, like once you start getting ornaments, like they already had a 5,000-6,000 gold lead. That's the 5,000-6,000 gold lead that Talon needs to have to counteract the upgrades, the gold efficiency that's going to come out of the Orin. And once they start falling behind, especially in the early to mid game, it's pretty much game over, because that's your window to try and close out the game if you're on the side of Talon.
Yeah, and right now, as you can see, again, what Talon wanted to do was just be either even and bot mid and perhaps play around with River getting ahead. But it's not going to work this time against AHQ because they were just practically everywhere at the beginning, having a lot of dragon control. And again, for their composition, they're primed and ready earlier on to fight these first 2 dragons in the game. And if you lose those first 2, then just more gold will just land on the enemy's pocket. And Talon really struggled to get Candy ahead on this LeBlanc, and that's the reason why they had such a hard time making this composition work.
Yeah, like I love Candy. I know he loves playing the LeBlanc. It's one of his best champions, but especially during this game, it was just utterly shut down by this Lissandra pick. They didn't even, maybe scale back into the Syndra. It's just Uniboy that's saying, yeah, you know, you try and jump in, I'm just gonna, you know, put you down with the ultimate or try and lock you down with the W, and Candy can't really do anything other than just kind of stop and stare and see his impending doom coming in with this, you know, Ornn running directly at your face.
Yeah, and it feels like getting a taste of their own medicine, because it was usually Talon who would counter Uniboy, who would always first pick that Zoe at the first draft, at the first instance of the draft. And now we see that, you know, getting that LeBlanc didn't really work, especially that Lissandra totally shut down this LeBlanc to either roam. And with that, what is the plan now for Talon at the second game? Because that looks really convincing for the side of AHQ.
Yeah, I honestly, unfortunately, there for the side of Talon, there's not much else more that we could possibly say. It's them trying to draft a composition, but not at all playing to their, again, spikes. And honestly, I just feel like Big Fafa got out-drafted when it came to this game.
With that, it seems to me that I did mention about mid and bot being even, and with that, Hanabi, we didn't really see the Hanabi that we wanted to see on like the Mordekaiser or perhaps even one of the AD carries at the top side of the map. So with that, they played more on the 5v5s and not the single lane. And I suppose maybe they will shift a little bit at the next game, or just copy paste what they wanted to do and just make it a better execution.
So just getting word here. Game 2, it's going to be Talon that's opting to go onto the red side, so they're looking to have the counter pick available to them. So maybe we'll see a little bit of a change up when it comes to the draft to try and get themselves a bit, you know, better matchups so they can maybe possibly win these lanes. And if they want to try and go with this kind of composition where, you know, you're trying to, you know, nail in immediately early on in the game, that you want to try and get that gold advantage, they now have a new opportunity to try and do so here in Game 2.
Yeah, well, I guess what I really like about this series in general is that I think this is one of the few series that we're going to see where Zoe, Syndra, LeBlanc is going to be open for like the whole draft. And I think it's because since, you know, Candy and Uniboy do favor these three champions in general that really managed to help skyrocket the teams and the games in the regular season, I think both of these teams have prepared their respective counters already. And I expect more bans on the jungler, especially I think around for the rest of the series.
Yeah, I'm personally just very impressed with AHQ when they know exactly when they can fight, especially in this early game. Like, it was such a perfect setup on that first dragon fight where, you know, you have yourself Waco picking up his ultimate immediately. We're actually going to go ahead and take a look. I believe this is the third dragon fight that AHQ were able to secure, and unfortunately you just see Talon are just scattered out like flies.
Yeah, Hanabi was trying to zone away certain targets, wait for cooldowns after the ult has been initiated, but then again, if you can't reach the backline, then you'll have to face Uniboy and Isera and everybody else except for Wako, and you'll be in touch for the whole duration of the team fight.
Yeah, so with that, it's going to be AHQ that are going to be able to take home the victory here in Game 1. But of course, it is a best of 5, and for Talon, they have themselves a window to, of course, try and tie up this series and maybe possibly take the lead over into Game 3 if they're able to win 2 back-to-back. Of course, it's not over yet, and that's why I was excited to see this matchup, because I wanted to see an evolution, especially when it came to the draft and play styles of the side of Talon in particular, because them going absolutely killless in the first game here against AHQ, that's an extremely rare sight to see. So we're going to go ahead and take a short break. When we come back, though, it's going to be that Game 2, so don't go anywhere.